Yo, hey, check this out.
You're gonna learn today.
Welcome to the Lakeside Chat. I'm your host, Brother John Muhammad, and as usual, we'll be having a conversation about current events, hot topics with local community activists, organizers, and everyday people. So we invite you to tune in every Sunday at 2 p.m. and you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/cthatcenter. As always, we also do self-introductions for our guests, and we'll begin our chat.
Hello, I'm Monique Pagan, or Mo for short, and I'm a local activist with the Dream Defenders.
Hi, I'm Jason James. I am a third generation resident of the city of St. Petersburg, sixth generation Floridian, and I am an activist with the Dream Defenders.
Hi, I'm Ashley Green. I am a woman of many hats,
Yes.
a person of many hats, but my two primary hats is as a labor organizer with Florida Public Service Union and as a proud member of the Bay Area Dream Defenders.
Excellent, excellent. So Bay Area Dream Defenders,
That is
right?
what we call ourselves.
So tell me a little bit about the Bay Area Dream Defenders,
Yeah.
and what do you do?
Squad.
Well, the Bay Area Dream Defenders are, as you can tell, affiliated with the Dream Defenders, which is a statewide organization. And the purpose of the Dream Defenders is to, how do I say it? Basically uplift our community
Right.
by different means. Like right now we're doing a campaign called the Free Campaign, where we're going door to door in our community statewide. And we are particularly here in Charles Park to talk to our community members to see how we can help them improve their community and whatever else is needed, basically.
So you said free campaign. Is that an acronym for something?
No, we're just trying to get free.
Trying to get
We're trying to get free.
Well, I know, a lot of these campaigns free mean forever realizing economic education.
I like that.
You know what I mean?
I like that.
That's just kind of off the dome, you know? You know what I mean? Educational empower, you know, however, that's just kind of.
Empowerment,
You know,
I like that.
I do think at the root of our work, though, and this is something that I think sets us apart from a lot of other groups and entities, is that we're really out here elevating our black and brown youth.
Exactly.
We believe that for all the good and all the wisdom that's been done by our parents and the generation that even came before them, it's really on us to lead a change and to build a different world. And so our organization, our leadership is all 35 and under.
Yeah.
And they tell you, once you get 35, if you still doing this with us, you're going to have to step back, fall back, and find somebody under 35 to
I'm
move
kind of
forward.
offended a little bit.
No, it's okay, because we need the wisdom.
Because I'll be 40 next month, man.
We need the wisdom.
I'm too old to be a dream defender.
We need the No, you can still be a dream defender. You just can't lead the dream
Okay,
defenders.
all right, I can rock with
Leadership
that.
is young.
Okay,
In
and
our
I can really
organization.
appreciate that too, though. You know, it's, that's kind of cool.
It's the babies.
It's the babies,
It's the babies.
And that's what
They're younger
Mr.
than us,
Farrakhan, he
quite
says
frankly.
that. He always talks about that too, though. You know, he said the future's all about YO youth, right? And so it's us and youth, because if you're not thinking about young people in the movement, then you're really not thinking long term. So,
Exactly.
So I can appreciate that, and then to have that as a part of the organizational structure just helps to solidify that. So
You know, it's very weird how we think about things historically. I think because in a lot of ways, this current generation is sort of hung on for dear life for a long time. When you think about the civil rights movement, it was a lot of young people.
Right.
No, but the same people who are in the civil rights movement, who were teenagers, who were children of the movement, are the same people who are trying to hold on to power and positions today.
Exactly.
And some of them are doing so with a real vision of leading up and really sort of mentoring young people, which I think is beautiful because you get that knowledge. But a lot of them are just doing it until they die.
Exactly.
Yeah, just like on the post. What do you think is at the root of that? Why would you think somebody would just hold on to a position, and in some cases, and not even be effective?
Sometimes because that's all they have. you know, then maybe what makes them tick
Right.
every day.
It's their passion. That's all. They've always done that, and
You know,
or maybe they're getting paid and they trying to hold on to a little bit of power that they think they have.
because it's a check at the end of the day.
I think
Well, some of them. I'm not saying that's for all of them.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But some of them that is more that could be the case.
I think
Yeah.
more than that, though. And I think this is a. I think those are both parts of it, but I don't think the majority. I think the majority of people who are still trying to serve today believe A, that they still have a lot of themselves to give,
Yeah.
and B, that their vision of the future is still the vision of the future worth building.
Okay.
And I won't take that away from them, but I think that it's on the people who have to actually live out the future
Right.
to build it. And
Okay.
not just the people who are trying to leave something of themselves, leave something that they can say, I did this, and my community now has it because of me.
Now, there's this syndrome in this thing. You talk about Willie Lynch, right? And a lot of times we hear about Willie Lynch being, you know, the light skin, dark skin. That's usually the house Negro. But also a part of his philosophy was old and young.
Yeah.
So how can we combat that in our community where we can close the gap between those who are holding on?
Knowledge. A lot of people in our community aren't aware of the Willie Lynch syndrome or letter. Yeah. They have no idea what it is. They, you know, it's like, I don't know him. He lives down the street.
Right. Willie Lynch. Willie.
So, you know, educating.
Oh, I know Willie. Well, I used to go to school.
Willie from the bar.
So, you know, educating them and letting them know, you know, he didn't just use age. He used men against, you know, old men against young men, men against women, women against children. It was pitting each other against each other. You know, I'm better than you. You're better than me. I'm better because I'm light skinned, or I'm better because I'm brown skinned.
I'm better because I'm tall. I'm better because I'm short.
Exactly. You know, and at the end of the day, they basically ingrained in us that we're not equal to each other. So how can we be equal to them?
Right. And you think knowledge alone would solve that problem? Because I'm finding that a lot of people know better, but they just haven't accepted responsibility to act on what they know.
First step, though.
I think knowledge is
the first step.
But it's gonna take a little bit more than.
I think humility is definitely got to come into the picture. There are a lot of people. I'll just say this, and I'm gonna say this again somewhere else in the conversation. I'm sure there are a lot of Christians that do not live like Christ.
Okay.
And a lot of Christians who don't live like Christ,
right.
and that the same could be said for other religious.
A lot of Muslims
there are a lot of
that
Muslims that don't live like Muhammad. I was just about to say, there are a lot of people who are not living out the ideals that they claim, and so what happens in that way, and I'm not saying that for better or for worse, but the reality is that they begin to live for themselves,
right?
And to live like Christ or live like Muhammad is to live for the people,
right?
And when you're living for the people, you don't put yourself first in all things.
Exactly.
You put the people first. And so I think the biggest thing when I say humility is sort of recognizing that we are a part of a collective ecosystem, a collective community, a collective structure, and that in order to succeed, everybody has to function in concert with one another. We try and be like this Lone Ranger and then wonder why, like, you know, I'm out here, I'm doing good things, but the rest of the community isn't following behind me. That's because they're not supposed to follow behind you. You're supposed to be leading together.
And work together.
That's an ecosystem.
That's an excellent point, and it actually is a good segue for us to go into something I wanted to talk about. Was we talk about the Dream Defender. So first part of that is that related anyway to the dream? When I think dream and advocacy, you think about Martin Luther King's dream. So is that kind of a part of that mission, or is that just a good name? What is the dream? Is that connected in some way to the dream that Dr. King had about the economic justice or anything? Or
if you think about it, technically it is because it got started because of Trayvon Martin.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. And so the whole racial inequalities, and then and then
economic and I definitely think that it's rooted in Dr. King to an extent, but I also think it's because we're really trying to be out here and push for young people to dream for a different world.
Exactly.
Okay,
we got a lot of kids in our community who don't even know how to dream for anything better right now.
Okay,
if I can make it out of high school and make enough money to,
Some don't even
boil
think
some
about
crabs
that.
and
Yeah.
play cards on Friday
Get a garlic
night.
tray and
Then I've won at life, and I'm like, that's not a dream.
Right.
That's resigning yourself to an outcome.
Right. And that's just the basic level of survival is being able to feed yourself, clothe yourself, and have a nice house. Those are just survival essentials, not necessarily something that you want to aspire to attain. Those are human rights.
Yeah. So we're defending the right of kids to dream and go out there and actually create the world that they're dreaming for.
Gotcha. And in that vein, when we talk about Dr. King and Christians, recently during our Dr. King celebration, there was a controversy, for lack of a better term. Well, maybe that's the right term.
That is the right
It was a
term.
controversy surrounding Dr. Jamal Bryant and some statements that he made that were considered homophobic and the other things that he talked about. And I have a thing on homophobia. We could talk about that a little bit later. But and from that, it generated a lot of comment and conversation on social media about homosexuality and the black community and homosexuality and the Black Lives Matter and the movement. And so I'd just like to know, what are your thoughts on that, and why was that such a sticking point, and what side of that were you on? Were you on the I'm not going to the breakfast side, or were you on the let's go and hear what he has to say because it may generate some dialogue side?
I could just tell you, for me, some of the work that Dr. Bryant does in Baltimore is real good work, and I support him in that. Like, I'm a Facebook friend to him before all of this. I followed him before all of this, and I followed him on Twitter. And he does good work. But that cannot be divided from what he says in the church house.
Okay.
And the feminism of the church, the sissifying of the church, all the stuff he is saying is just so abhorrent to me. Like, I believe myself as a Christian, and if I go to a church and as a person who likes other men, go to church and hear a pastor say all of this, it'll make me feel I'm less than, I'm not worthy to be to receive God's grace, and that's just not good in my view for a pastor to do.
Right.
For anyone.
For anyone's, but a pastor who's supposed to help, quote unquote, lead the flock. That is like, so you're basically turning your own community against your own community while we're out here supposedly fighting for freedom from the broader white supremacist society.
Right.
In my view, all you're doing is just falling into the hand of the white supremacists.
Technically, yeah. I mean, a lot of, even in the black conscious community,
the black conscious
community, because of, they're so superior to the other conscious people.
Yes.
There's a lot of that back and forth and homophobia. Let's just break down the word homophobia.
Yeah, help me with that.
I'm just saying, I think it's the stupidest thing ever. You cannot say you're afraid of homosexuals because Homo sapiens also has the word homo in the beginning part of it. So are you fearful of people?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, yeah,
that was my thing, and see, I just give it to you. I commented on it. I think we talked about it also about.
Oh, I got thoughts
about homophobia, right?
The word is not.
I'm as a Muslim in the Nation of Islam. Minister Farrakhan got accused of being anti-Semitic for a long time because he pointed out and made some corrections about the activity of Jews, and anybody who says anything critical of the Jewish community is labeled as being anti-Semitic. Good, bad, right, or wrong. Whether it doesn't matter what you say. If you criticize them, that's what you are. And I'm finding that it seems like that happens when you are critical of the gay community. When you say anything critical or anything that doesn't align with that ideology, then now all of a sudden you're homophobic.
Let's break it down.
I don't necessarily think that a lot of people think that way. In the community. I don't think a lot of people in the community
because I know here now when we say community, just let me clarify, because we got different communities.
And
we got you got black conscious community, you got gay community, and then so when you say in the community, are you speaking from the? And again,
we're blocking ourselves into that Willie Lynch syndrome because we're allowing them to categorize us, and cattle us into these corrals.
That's interesting.
But, they believe it's part of white supremacy that keeps our minds covered, right? And so we when we, establish that we are who we are, automatically there's a fence built. So they're going to try to keep us on this side.
Well, I'm going to need you to talk a little, you got to shoot me a little more straight here, because I'm trying to follow you. But I need you to just kind of break it down and just give it to me like straight up. Say what you're saying.
Well, and again, putting ourselves in a box. We're a part of the LGBT community.
Okay, got it.
Right? Okay. So now I'm melanated.
Right.
And part of the LGBT community and conscious.
Right.
So I don't really fit in, like, I get ostracized, if you must. I get like Facebook bullied.
Yeah.
But I stand up for myself, so I don't care. I mean, I'm not any different than anybody else. I'm a spirit with flesh.
Right.
So with the pointing out, you're feminine, you're butch, you're whatever. It makes people feel superior. So that's why they do it. Like, I'm closer to who I'm supposed to be because you're gay. Like,
I understand.
It's a kind of brush off thing. I don't think people realize that they're separating us. And
So what? So I want to get your thoughts, and then I have a follow up to that.
I mean, I think one, we live in a culture full of boxes, like I was saying, and we classify ourselves in ways to feel both safe and to feel superior, and those are different things at different times.
Right.
Oops, sorry, I got an alarm going on.
That's kind of interesting. We put ourselves in boxes.
I'm gonna make the point again. My apologies. But no, that's just sort of the society and the culture that we live in, because it makes things more comfortable for people. I think the question of homophobia, and it's very interesting that you brought up sort of the example of anti-Semitism, is a lot of times the only true sort of criticism that people have about the community is Bible based, or based in the Quran, or it's religious based. The cultural questions are ones from 30 years ago, maybe during the AIDS crisis or the AIDS epidemic. But people aren't even really making those criticisms right now, because so many straight people have AIDS and HIV in their respective communities, that to purely assimilate that, or to purely conflate that as just gay would be wrong. Don't know why I said assimilate, but I'll get to that later. And what is frustrating about those criticisms is that they're not rooted in humanity. They are rooted in a singular interpretation of how human beings are supposed to operate. And
you're saying how they operate, because the Bible, I've heard, is basic instructions before leaving Earth. So it's saying that according to God's law, then this is how you should.
But the Bible, But the Bible, first off, Quran at least is the same text across all of Islam. The Bible has more than 50 different interpretations and translations. The King James has 12 less books than the Catholic Bible. The Catholic Bible got 18 less books than what they have found and validated. The text is translated different. I mean, the things that are right next to the text that talk about being gay are things that people are still doing. Everything from, different clothing textures you're not supposed to wear, to certain seafood you're not supposed to eat, to pigs, to false idols, to a few books later talking about not being hypocrites. And so for you to take one segment of the text, we take one segment of the text to act as an extrapolation for why you get to be less Christ-like, why you get to be, why you are righteous in being hateful. Not even, hateful in a way like I hate all gay people, I want them to die, but hateful in not treating them as human beings, which is the foundation of Christ and Christianity. This is the same dude rolling with prostitutes, lepers, all the people that society had thrown away.
He did.
So to use that as a justification doesn't line up to me. For me personally, and I've been to Baptist church, Pentecostal church, Catholic church, Unity Church of Christ. I've been to a lot of different churches, studied Buddhism for a while. For me, it's somebody who has always been a believer in a higher power, who has always sort of had a knowledge of myself at the same time. It has never been a question of whether God loves me or God hates me because of this thing that God made and created out of me.
So help me understand this, because
So you justifying your own inability to understand as homophobia or not homophobia, like that bothers me, because you just making excuses for not being the Christian that you're supposed to be.
Exactly.
Got it. So my question is this, because here's one of my things that I don't understand. I mean, and this is just me being Brother John, right? Yeah. Let's talk about it, right?
Let's talk about it.
So
That's what it was.
So again, the idea of choice, nurture, nature, and all of that, I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, Jay, just from the male perspective.
One, I did not choose to be attracted to other men. Flat out. I didn't wake up one day, I'm going to like men today. That never happened. I can tell you, from most of my childhood and even up until my early adulthood, I forced myself to try to be attracted to women. Like, try. It didn't work out, but try. So I saw what, men were supposed to like. Oh, I'm supposed to like big butts. Ooh, she got a big ass. I'm gonna like her. Yeah, but no.
It just, this is our show.
Yeah, but no, it's like in college when I was at FAM, it was like I had to try to force myself to be like the other dudes I hung around with and like women. I end up just being in my dorm room or my apartment room by myself every night, and then they go come out, hey, I've never seen you with women. Like,
So the jig is up.
Yeah.
So when did you get to the point where you just like, heck with it, I'm just gonna be myself?
I can say I came out to someone other than myself in 2006. I was 23 years old. And I could tell you that other person was my mother, and for a while our relationship was a little strained. Because she came up in the same church that she took me to. Right.
Oh Lord, my baby going to hell.
Like, no, for real.
Yeah.
Like, for real. Yeah.
That's kind of how they look at that, huh?
I mean, if I got called an abomination one more time, I'm sorry. It's like, but not. I can tell you, it was rough for me personally.
Yeah.
To feel somewhat ostracized from my own family.
Right.
Like, some of my family even said, "Oh, we were talking about something going on, or somebody said something racist on somewhere." And we was talking about something, and it was like, well, us black men, we got to stick together. I said, okay. He was naming the other people we wanted to squad up with. He's like, what's my name? Well, you're not black, you gay. I'm like,
wow.
What?
He said, you're not black, you're gay.
I'm like, what in the hell? I am almost as dark as you can get. Like, everywhere someone go, they see a big ass man.
Right.
Not. I'm like, excuse me.
Yeah.
And it
So how about your experiences with that? This whole process of choice versus, whether you gotta kind of just accept the way that things are supposed to be, or accept the way that you.
It wasn't a choice for me either. Actually, I made choices in my life to not be gay.
Okay. Okay.
That backfired, but.
Really?
Yeah. Because it was forced. It wasn't something that was natural. It wasn't something that, it wasn't love.
Yeah.
And I tried. I really did try my best. It wasn't real.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And I too, I don't walk around as like, I'm gonna be her.
Yeah.
And
I think a lot of that, like what you said.
Yeah, you definitely have to stimulate my mind. It's not.
I said that. I said all of what I said earlier, and I realized, thinking back on it, I don't want it to be misconstrued by trying to leave people too much leeway about the whole choice and nurture thing.
Yeah.
If it were the choice in the way that people like to point it out, if it was this clean cut sort of thing of like, I chose to be gay or I chose to be straight, so many people would put themselves through painful situations.
Right, I was just
Would
about to
kill
say.
themselves.
What
Exactly.
I did choose, though, was to finally be comfortable with myself and to know that God loves me regardless of who and how I am.
Right.
And that I'm not going to hell in a handbasket.
Exactly.
That I'm not going to heaven. Right.
But I think
And that's all, conceptual anyway. I mean, the whole idea of heaven and hell, it's Andre 3000, the great scholar and poet. Right?
Right.
He said, faith is what you make it. And sin all depends on what you believe in.
Yep.
And I think that's what happens a lot of times with anyone who accepts a particular religion or faith tradition. You believe that's the path and these are the morals and the code that you have to stick to in order to be good at that particular faith.
Right, and that is why a lot of people, I can speak for myself. A lot of my issues came with depression from being overly religious.
Okay.
Being so involved and wrapped up in what and how other people thought of me and how I should be and how I was to be more Christ-like.
Right.
But in all actuality, it was just to be myself.
Got it. And so we talked off camera about this idea of being gay versus queer, or not versus, just gay, queer.
Yeah.
Like, so help me understand that dynamic, because you got the
it's perfect.
LGBT, sometimes Q.
Yeah, QA. Oh, okay. LGBTQQIPAA. So
Yes.
lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, pansexual. Did I say asexual?
No. that's the other
Asexual,
Okay.
and allies.
The other, and
So
allies.
there's two
So they
allies.
usually just go with the LGBT.
I say,
Yeah, that just
LGBTQ.
Yeah, that just kind of covers everybody.
I like to call it the alphabet soup. No, it's a perfect segue of just sort of what I wanted to throw back out to what we've been talking about all together, is that so much of this is tied to people's ideas of sexuality
Okay.
and sex.
Yes.
So much of the uncomfortability is dealing with, I can't imagine having sex with this, that, or the other person. And part of why you didn't traditionally have these problems is anthropologically speaking, sex had a very clear role in most societies, most villages, most cultures, until you get to like civilization.
Okay.
Until you
We
get
talked
to
about
like
that a little
masses,
bit. Civilized society.
Civilized society. Until you get masses of people together, sexuality is unnecessary outside of procreation.
Exactly.
That's it.
And sexuality outside of procreation is very defined, if not non-existent. As you get to societies and culture that have an idea of sexuality outside of procreation, then this whole thing sort of like blows up. So this is what Rome is.
Okay.
Like, I mean, a lot of
Yeah.
the response to what we think of as moral sex is a response to how jacked up Greeks and Romans were with
Yeah, they
sex.
went way out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just went, they went out
Animals and all that kind of
there.
stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
Or what we,
Is that in the alphabet
what I
soup?
perceive, no. Don't even. That's not funny. That's not funny.
I'm just saying.
Funny.
I just got hit
Are you
with
guys-
It is
That's
not
why they think
funny.
it's a choice.
It is
Yeah.
not funny. It's not a cute joke to
Yeah,
equivocate consensual sex
Between-
with pedophilia or bestiality.
No.
Yeah.
Sex between
Not a
two
pedophile.
consenting adults
Or
is
three or
a
four.
choice or more. It's
Oh
a
my
choice
God.
that people who are capable of making the choice are able to have. I'm just talking about sex.
Right.
Sex with people who cannot choose, be it rape, be it with an
Yeah,
animal,
absolutely,
be it with a
absolutely.
child,
That's
is an
a choice.
abhorrent act.
Absolutely.
And to
I agree.
equivocate the two is to basically say that you think that two people who are sane and rational can make a decision on their own and make a decision out of love are no better than people who take away other people's humanity
Right.
sexually.
I agree.
And that really bothers me.
Yes.
That bothers me as a victim
And
of
you
child
knowing me,
abuse.
you know I didn't mean to offend you.
I know, but
No,
it's not
no,
you.
no,
But it's
that's
frequent.
Because I,
You know,
I'm
that's
totally,
how many
I get hit with all
Facebook
the time.
comments?
Yeah.
I
How
get
many
hit
Facebook
all the
comments
time with that.
brought up pedophilia and bestiality?
right, and they put it in the same context
That's
of
exactly
being
what they do.
gay, right?
And it's not.
And they say, it's you're no better.
It's not
than,
true. I know.
You're the
I
same
understand.
as.
But the joke,
You know,
the joke hurts. The
Yeah.
joke,
It does.
joke means something.
It does, and it really does burn your britches,
Yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and like it really. That is one of the reasons why I made sure I was here today, because that like, it's not funny that when you say things like that to people,
The idea of you're no better than, or you're or this comparable to those type
or
of
less
things.
than.
Or less than.
It makes you, you have no. That's like telling somebody they're going to hell. Like,
Exactly.
You have no idea what state that person is in.
That's worse because to me it tells you that you're creating hell on earth.
That is true.
I can tell you.
Because the whole idea of going to hell, I dealt with that on my job where, because I'm a Muslim and a woman told me, well, you going to hell because you don't believe, the way I believe, and so I can see that, but like you said, the comparison to be contributing to something so horrible, is definitely something that would be disturbing. And we talked about also homosexuality, and we had some type of conversation about, is that the right term, or is that the right?
You're right. I like how you brought it back to sentence. Lesbian, bisexual, gay, transgender, queer.
I didn't hear homosexuality in there. Yeah.
None of them say homosexuality for a reason, except for bisexuality.
Okay, so for bisexuality.
So lesbian is the idea that you're a woman who is attracted to other women. Gay is a man who is attracted to other men. Transgender is actually not a sexuality at all.
No, is that a choice? Come on.
No.
Transgender is not like Bruce Jenner. That's not a choice.
No.
I mean, come on. You're born one way, and then
you're born one way.
Because there's conscious, deliberate action that you're taking.
You're born one way, but the way that your brain develops can be a different way, and that can still be a natural thing.
There is a difference.
Like how your brain develops is as much the environment that you're in. Why kids are violent? Because hold on, look about this. Look at all the studies about why kids are violent. About 90%, actually more than 90% of violent kids are violent as a reaction to how they were raised.
Okay.
And both behaviorally and their brain developed in ways you can see trauma on the brain in kids that are violent.
We call it the contagion of aberration in some studies that I've read. But I want to hear your thoughts on that because you're kind of dominating right now.
Hey.
This is where, for me, spirituality kind of takes over.
Okay.
I'm a very spiritual person. I believe that we're all spiritual beings. I don't think that we're, this is clothing for us.
Okay.
So, I also believe in reincarnation. It's a whole different topic.
Yeah.
But, when your spirit comes into this world, but when it comes into this world, it comes in through the womb. You're born with this clothing.
Right.
It may not necessarily be your suit.
Okay.
It's just how I feel about it. I have someone who's very dear to me who is going through this. And
this idea of transgender, you mean?
It's not an idea. It's
not
real.
Okay.
It's
I didn't know how to put
real.
that. I was trying to be eloquent. I'm
different
sorry.
Cultures, the idea of two-spiritness.
Who's experiencing transgender?
Yeah, I mean, it's only transgender because my clothing says that I'm a woman. My clothing says that I'm a woman. In my, in my spirit, I may be very manly, mannish.
So, what makes that transgender different from being gay, from what I'm hearing?
Because transgender people can be gay and transgender people can be straight.
Or can be anywhere in between.
Anywhere in between.
I'm really just...
Okay, sorry.
But no,
it's really complicated for all of us. I probably just said something that would be offensive to a lot of transgender people, and not in intentionality, but because I'm still trying to figure out what it means too.
Right, because like what you were saying, it's not a choice. So, and I'm thinking, okay, so if you're gay, then you're attracted.
It's a choice to transition.
So gay, you're attracted to men.
Yeah.
So a transgender man is also attracted to men.
Not necessarily.
No.
Okay. Got it. So help me.
Gender from attraction.
Okay.
Gender is completely different from attraction.
So gender is what you're born, the way you're born, whether male or female.
No, the way that culture assigns
the way that
you
you're
at birth.
physically, your physical makeup.
The sex that you are assigned is birth.
Physical makeup.
Your physical makeup is sex.
Wait. Let me break this down.
Oh wait, I got a genderbread person though. I'm gonna step back, but I'm gonna pull up the picture.
Okay, you got it.
So think about it like this. It goes back to the suit, right?
Yeah.
When I was born, my suit said I'm a woman. I have,
Yeah.
That may have said you're a
Things.
woman.
Yeah.
May have.
Sometimes your suit can say you're both.
Yeah,
You're intersex.
Right. Yeah, I was saying my
Let's keep it simple. Keep it simple for me. Yeah, yeah.
my suit says that I'm a woman, you know, according to science. But inside does not necessarily mean that I'm a woman. You know, my inside can very much be male. I think very hetero. I act and react very hetero. Attracted to women, you know, like a heterosexual male. May not even understand the gay lifestyle at all. But it, you know, it happens. These are real people.
Right.
This is really, it's real.
Right. Right.
And what I was trying to say is we have to separate sex, the physical makeup of the suit that she is saying, from gender. Sex is down here, gender is all brain.
Okay.
So, and gender is all brain and culture and like what your culture says and does, and says you're supposed to be. And if your culture says and what it does influences your brain, and your brain says, well, I don't feel like that. I feel more like what they said this other thing is supposed to be. So that's what I am, not what this outside thing says I am.
And then you start to choose to manifest that.
Well,
you can.
I mean,
because like what you said, again, I'm sorry, I'm stuck on choice, because I see like in some cases where you're consciously deciding that I'm going to fit into the way society says that, to say that I'm just going to make my mind up that I was born a male or a boy, and I'm going to choose to try and do that, even though I have this inclination.
A lot of people,
and then at a certain point,
but
you
that
decide.
doesn't change the spirit.
Okay.
So that's to say that Caitlyn Jenner was always Caitlyn Jenner internally. Bruce was something that was put on Bruce by society.
Yeah.
And let's stop right there. We're going to take a real quick break, and then we'll be right back with more from the Lakeside Chat. Welcome back to the Lakeside Chat, and we'll continue the conversation where we left off. We're just going to dive right in. I want to talk about this, the concept of, because we talked about sexuality and, you know, I don't know how to talk now. Homosexuality and the movement.
Congratulations.
You know, I'm just gonna say how I think, and then you correct me if I'm wrong. But homosexuality and the struggle for Black Lives Matter, because when that whole thing about Jamal Bryant came out, I know, like you said, people were revealing their thoughts on you. And it's like people who you work with and people who you soldier with in the cause. You do die-ins and you out here on the front lines with these people, but they really don't necessarily like you. You know what I mean? So would you mind sharing a little bit about that experience and some of the mixed feelings that you had surrounding that whole situation?
I can tell you that a lot of people broke my heart. People I generally thought were in this cause with me and for me. Turns out no. And like, I can tell you up until a couple weeks ago, I've never unfriended people. I've offended people now. And it's like, if you can't see me as a person with the right to exist with whomever I like that is an adult, then I don't need to be around you.
Right.
You're not fighting for the same cause I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for all of my black and brown brothers and sisters to be free of this white supremacist yoke that we have around our neck.
Right.
And if you can't do that with me, then what are you fighting for? Are you fighting to be just to replace the white man as the supremacist?
Yeah, they're fighting for black supremacy.
Got it. Ashley, your experience with that? And
I was much less offended, and don't get me wrong, I was very offended by Dr. Bryant's speech that they were pointing to in that video, and the fact that Dr. Bryant had actively worked to defeat legislation that would make me a full citizen.
Exactly.
okay.
It was much more, it was less about, anybody can say anything, and people say offensive things to me all day. I'm a union organizer in Florida, so
Right.
It was the fact that people's thoughts translate into action. And I was less concerned with Dr. Bryant speaking and more concerned with the unsafe environment that the people who were mad at gay people felt emboldened to sort of support because of a quote-unquote defense of Dr. Bryant in general.
Right.
So when I say that, I say people who don't see me as fully human felt more empowered by his coming to speak. And that became the message of what he was speaking about in their minds, instead of it being about what he was probably intended to speak on, which was Baltimore and the movement for Black Lives.
Right.
I commend him completely for the work. I done seen the man speak before. I probably would have gone to the breakfast if I could have gotten a ticket. And I asked people for tickets.
Okay.
I wanted to go.
Got it.
But this is a movement, and like many movements that have been built around sort of Black Lives, like the Civil Rights Movement, this is a movement largely led by women in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And a lot of those women happen to be queer. And yet they do not get to see themselves reflected on the fruits of their labor. And that's part of what tore apart the Civil Rights Movement. That's how COINTELPRO operated.
Right.
Yeah.
It was an idea to pit different segments of the Black community against one another.
Just the whole Willie Lynch rehash.
It's a whole Willie Lynch rehash,
It's such an effective strategy.
So why are we still buying it?
And that's what he said.
It's like
he said it won't last. Right?
300 to 1,000 years.
So my mentality is,
Absolutely.
if we're talking about real Black solidarity, then you're going to stand next to some Black people you don't like.
Absolutely.
That includes Black drug dealers, that includes Black prostitutes, that includes Black killers, that includes Black saviors, Black Christian people, Black Buddhist people. You're going to stand with all black people. You're going to have a whole bunch of different kinds of Black people.
Right.
Your dislike of them does not mean that you get to shove them off the bridge of being Black.
Or push them to the back.
Wow.
Right.
Like, we still Black.
Yeah.
Or push them to the back of the bus because they're not as Black as you.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, they are Black, but no, you're not Black, you're gay, like what he said.
Yeah.
So now I've just, my whole Black card is gone.
Wow. Black card is
I'm like,
gone.
I'm fighting just as much for
Or
Black
I'm more
people.
Black because I'm a Muslim.
Yeah.
See, and you're a Christian, so you got the white man's ideology.
Exactly.
And so you following this white man's religion, so you're not as Black as me as a Muslim.
And the truth is in order to achieve real justice for ourselves and for our people in this lifetime, because in the next lifetime, if you come back, you might be in a different body.
Right. Absolutely.
That might be real, but for justice in this lifetime, on this earth, in this moment,
For all Black people.
for all Black people,
Right.
you're going to have a little bit of stronger solidarity than like letting a guy from Baltimore who went home tear apart this community.
Well, I think, and I don't really think that, and that's my whole idea too, because I made a post about Martin Luther King 9th Street are you going to Martin Luther King's 9th Street celebration?
I went to both.
Or are you going to the Tropicana Field?
Had a great time at both.
But here's the thing. Here's the point. People saying that I was causing division.
No.
And my thing is, if my question causes division, then it's because it's already there.
It's already there.
You know what I mean? It's not that I'm causing anything. It's like maybe I exposed it. And now you got a problem with me because I exposed the way you really think. But you can't blame me for the city being divided and say Dr. Jamal Bryant didn't cause anything.
It's just what he did was he pulled the sheet off.
He exposed a lot of things, so it allowed you to see things, and it allowed our community, as a whole, to really see itself and see how much further we have to go in this struggle. And I think that's not always a bad thing.
The funny thing is that, I noticed like a lot of the Black Lives Matter movement people, they quote a lot of Marcus Garvey.
Okay.
Marcus Garvey was a pan-Africanist.
Yeah.
That means he included everybody.
Everybody.
All Africans.
And
he was taking people or trying to take people back to Africa. He wasn't saying, no, you can't go because you're not dark enough. You can't go because you're too like
African.
He said, you qualify because you're African. Let's go.
Right.
Plain and simple. So we beg you to stop. Like, if you're going to quote somebody and you're going to take on his ideologies, do it all the way.
Right.
Don't do it half of the way because it promotes this part of your cause.
Yeah.
Do it all the way.
I'll raise my hand because this is an important statement.
Right. Go ahead.
No, it's really important. I also think we do a lot of reflection on the past for wisdom, and I think that's beautiful. Can we stop being afraid to think of some new things? And to envision a different future. I'm not chasing after a past. I'm trying to build a future.
But that's why they killed Jesus, because he wasn't. He was taking the same old model, right, and what they taught them
and
about, and he was saying, no,
we got to go forward.
We're gonna move forward. But they were saying, how dare you? How dare you change our culture and the way we see ourselves? Because he said, well, you know, I am God, and they're like, what? Wait a minute, that's that idea is foreign to us, and that's what he was teaching the people, and they couldn't really wrap their minds around that. And like what you said, this is another thing that I had when you talk about taking people's ideology. Malcolm X was a Muslim, you know, fruit of Islam, and I went through that same orientation process to get my ex, and now being Muhammad. And it's true, people don't like Muslims, but they love Malcolm X. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how can you jive that? Or you know, you
say something.
If you're gonna love the man and you're gonna follow the man, Malcolm didn't eat pork. Malcolm prayed 5 times a day. Malcolm was a very disciplined man according to his religion, but never mind that part. I'm gonna stand with a shotgun and scream by any means necessary.
And that's wrong.
And that's not all he stood for either. It's like, really?
Malcolm
that's
evolved.
That's the box that they put in there.
Malcolm evolved. And the beauty of Malcolm, and the beauty of Dr. King, and the beauty of a lot of these people that they took from us too far, or far too soon, was that they killed right as they were evolving into something, much more inclusive and humane and just beautiful. And we didn't get the full teaching. We didn't get to get the full
teaching because
of their ideas.
But that is the way the system is set up. It's not
they
set up for us to
because of this.
For our great leaders to get old.
It's not. It's not set up for us to receive that fruit. It's not. It's not set up. It's not set up for us to evolve above what the ground that they've set for us.
Because I Have a Dream, that was 63. And I mean, you listen to some of the speeches from 66 to 68 that Dr. King gave.
My speeches.
And that's like, you know, when he says, I want to get the language right, I'm black. You know, he stopped saying Negro. We missed that part of Dr. King because we're stuck on the dream because that's the image that they want him, they want us to embrace.
Well, guess what? I challenge all of you to open your mind to more than what you just see on the outside or who you think I'm sleeping with, because guess what, I'm still going to be out there on the front line. I'm still going to be yelling all Black Lives Matter. As a matter of fact, I might even make a t-shirt. The point is that I see more than what's on your skin and who you sleep with. So see more of me.
And then you want to really go in when you use that biblical argument, right? What about the fornication and the adultery, right?
I didn't see a single person.
You know what I mean? Okay, you got your boyfriend and your girlfriend thing. That's in there too. You know?
Like I said, hypocrites get sent to hell too in the Bible.
I see that. I see that.
Or when they quote Leviticus and ignore all the other laws.
Leviticus was tough.
Are your plates porous? Do your plates have pores?
Are you wearing
supposed to have milk on one plate?
Are you eating shrimp, crab, and mullet?
Right. Ooh, you going to hell. Let's take a break. We'll take a break. We'll be right back with more from the Lakeside Chat. All right, welcome back to the Lakeside Chat. I'm your host, Brother John, and we have a wonderful, wonderful panel. We're having the bomb discussion. So, your host, right?
Like, these don't look like any of the other Lakeside Chats that I watch.
It's all right because it's real.
It's real.
It's the truth.
The Rainbow Collective.
The Rainbow Collective. Speaking of rainbows.
Some glitter on it.
Talking about rainbows, a couple of years ago, the flag that represents the gay community was raised over City Hall. Is that a good thing?
Why are people mad at rainbows? Why? know?
I personally think it's a good thing, but I would love today to see the RGB flown as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the reason I take it as a good thing is because the mayor before that and the mayor before that were not necessarily virulently, but they were anti-gay, and they didn't support St. Pete Pride at all, despite all the money it brought into the city's coffers.
Right. Now I've heard some people say that St. Pete Pride doesn't really represent the gay community. I've heard people.
I would agree.
I
was like, no, I
St. Pete Pride.
I have some friends who are involved with St. Pete Pride, so I got nervous about saying that out loud. But I would agree. I think my issue with the rainbow flag, and I love rainbows to death, is that right now when we talk about gay people and we talk about the gay community, we're traditionally talking about gay white men.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and that's what you think of when you think about a gay person traditionally.
And that's why they say you're not black, you're gay. So they're trying to, because you don't usually associate that.
And so the level of inclusion in that flag, I think, is negligible. So I really don't care about the flag particularly. Take it or leave it. It's up to you. I love rainbows though.
Okay.
I love rainbows because before I knew they were supposed to be gay.
But that flag is like generally the standard that represents that part of the
gay community.
That's the beginning part.
That's no, I'm just saying that's the marketing of it.
Yeah.
That's how it's marketed to make you feel good. It's like how pink is not supposed to
so that's
look like
not the
breast
only gay
cancer.
pride flag then. Okay, I just learned something.
Or it's like, if you buy something that's pink, it's supposed to represent breast cancer. Like that's not. That's not really. The money's not going to breast cancer research. They just sold it to you because they knew that you.
They knew that this was. It's October and everybody's wearing pink, so let me get in on that.
So I'm indifferent to those types of symbols that are really just a form of like consumerism. What I will say is that this community locally, and this is why traditionally I don't always feel very a part of the gay community here, is because it is traditionally tailored to one type of gay person. And I am not that type of gay person. Now coming from Atlanta,
Atlanta is the Mecca.
Atlanta is the Mecca.
I've seen that.
Got a menagerie. A menagerie of different kinds of gay people.
It was a very whole different level. It was like turned to the max.
So
for
when you
lack
say
of a better word.
so tell me about that experience. I mean, just the difference from where you are to going into an environment like in Atlanta where it's just.
Well, first off, I came originally from New York, where I was very closeted.
Okay.
Very closeted. My parents are very influential, and I didn't want to risk being outed, so I was very closeted. So I didn't get to experience all of that, but when I came to Tampa, I was like, oh, there's lots of people like me, and I can be comfortable and be myself. And then I went to Atlanta, and I was like, oh, I need my closet back. I need my closet back.
Right.
This is too scary.
So you think that's an overcompensation? Because this is one of the things, me and my wife, we talk about this, and when we talk about particularly gay men, gay black men, her problem with gay black men is they try so hard to be like women, and it's like that over the top.
You underestimate how many gay black how many gay black men you actually know.
Okay.
Like, cause you think there's only one kind of gay black man, and in Atlanta in particular, you got more gay thugs out there than you do effeminate gay black men. In fact, the effeminate gay black men traditionally, from my own personal experience, are trying to get to the gay thugs.
So that's because like everybody has a type, I guess.
Exactly.
So the effeminate black men are seeking the companionship.
I'm not saying that's universal. I'm not saying that's universal. I'm just saying in Atlanta,
and there are no absolutes.
That's the game.
Let's put it on the table. There's no absolutes in anything.
I didn't say there were any absolutes. I'm just saying, that's the game that I'm used to seeing.
I tell you, based on the stereotype of what a gay man specifically is supposed to be, people would be surprised. It's like your next door neighbor who, looks or does everything that a man is supposed to is out here trying to get with other men.
Think about how big that turn down low got.
Right. So is that the same thing apply on the female side with the women that I guess would be considered butch, or like you got some hard women, I'm talking about like wrapping up the breasts, sagging like dudes. I mean, what contributes to that? Is that like an overcompensation, or are you really just trying to be a dude?
That's just how they feel comfortable.
So they're not like just trying to be a man. That's just how they feel comfortable.
Look at me, Brother John. There are very few times where you would see me be super feminine or super masculine.
Yeah.
Ashley's package is generally jeans and a t-shirt.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what Ashley feels comfortable in.
Yeah.
Like, if you see me wear a suit or if you see me wear a dress.
Yeah.
I saw a picture with
Those are special occasions. Those are special occasions. Ashley might be trying. That's Ashley trying, but in general, Ashley is as comfortable as she wants. They want to be when they want to be it.
Exactly.
And that's everybody else. It's human. You wear what you wear because you like it.
Today you see me in a skirt, but tomorrow you might see me with a baseball cap to the back and some basketball shorts.
You ain't trying to be something. You trying to be Brother John.
Okay, that makes sense. I can appreciate that perspective, because I like I said, I don't know. I'm ignorant to a lot of that stuff myself, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation, not just for our viewing audience, but because I care about y'all. I mean, y'all on my team. I work with you. I've worked with each one of you and closely with you, and I really value the relationship that we have. You know what I'm saying?
Same here.
And it's not, I never even considered that it's never a consideration for me whether you gay or not. Oh no, I can't work with you. That's not, because the problem is so big. Like you said earlier, we need all hands on deck.
All hands.
I think if we actually really started to talk to one another and really started to communicate, a lot of our issues would disappear, and not just with the alphabet soup. I mean, with the black community in whole.
I
really honestly believe that a lot of our issues would disappear. A lot of us would realize that we're not here alone. And we yell that we're here for each other, but we really aren't. There really is no unity in the black community, and that's sad.
Yeah, I agree. I always say this: unity is not uniformity, and
that's the problem. That's where their mind is.
It's like, in order for me to be unified with you, I have to wear a suit. I have to, fit into this bag, and have to fit into.
Which, by the way, is the makings or beginning makings of supremacy. Supremacy, their thing was you have to be.
Yeah,
like
you're not civilized if you don't speak our language, or you're not civilized if you don't cut your hair and you don't dress like we do. You're right.
Like, people need to think back to one of the first scenes in Roots, when they literally beat Kunta almost to death for him to say his name was Toby.
Right.
Yep.
That is emblematic of white supremacy, and everything, the divisiveness that we are, that people are fostering within the broader black and brown community is basically doing the same thing that they did to Kunta.
Making him fit into this.
Exactly.
They're making him put on a jacket.
Right. Ashley?
I'll say a couple of things. One, for religious folk, remember that they're blueprints, but not like hard lines. Like, I think it's more important to walk in the footsteps of the people that you admire and aspire to be like, than it is to take their translations too literally.
Right.
The word still came through man. It came from God, but it came through man. And man can get stuff jacked up sometimes. That's a conversation to have with the higher power once you transition on to the next phase of your life. But here on earth, if you are truly a person of faith, and live out that faith as the person who you are saying you're exemplifying your life out of, in this case, in a lot of cases, that's Christ or Muhammad, or Buddha, or Yahweh, or a lot of different things.
Zoroastrian.
Live out your life in a way that is reflective of them and not just a book. Because a book is not what dictated their lives.
Exactly.
They lived their lives in some ways absent of the book. They wrote the book as they were living their life, or the book was written after them.
That's true. And that's what Jesus said too. He said, love ye one another as I have loved you.
Exactly.
Like, so his love is a demonstration of how you should love.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Of the commandments is love.
That's the greatest. All of the other ones hang on those principles.
Exactly.
The second thing that I'll just say is, I think 5 or 10 years from now, I just hope that we've moved the ball further down the field. I think these conversations are critical and are the beginning. People have to be patient with one another, and I think that's on both sides. I think it becomes very easy for us to just sort of write people off be it queer or, you know, gender conforming, gender non-conforming, be it straight, be it this, that, or the other. We let these boxes divide us, and we need to have patience in these conversations. But what cannot happen is you can't invalidate someone's humanity in this conversation and expect them to want to keep talking to you.
You know, the funny thing is that you're basically doing the same thing to us or people in that community that you're trying to get away from.
Yeah.
So how can you sleep at night? How can you be comfortable?
Yeah, you've adopted their mechanisms, but you just have chosen a different target.
Right, absolutely.
Right.
It's like,
you know,
like one of the it's almost analogous to the colorism within our community.
I was just about to say that.
And like the Willow Lynch syndrome, they forcibly put us into boxes.
Yeah.
Right.
And
we're still in those boxes.
We are.
Unfortunately.
That's true.
Like for real,
now we have more boxes.
now we have even more boxes.
So many
we
boxes.
create our own boxes now.
Right.
I'm not tired of boxes. I'm like, can
I'm
I
not
just
in a
be
box.
me?
Right.
I'm not a box.
Yeah.
I'm not this box this day, then that box this day.
Yeah.
Or 1 hour I'm this box and the next hour I'm that box. No, I'm always Jason.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? Homosexuality or being gay, lesbian, queer, transgender,
Same
whatever.
gender loving, all of that.
Right. Same gender loving.
Same gender loving.
It's
That's
not
a new
a
one.
choice, but being intolerant to people who are same gender loving
It is a choice.
Powerful. It's a good point to end on for that one.